Sorry,
Okay, can you give me the host?
um,
Actually, I lose the flow means that
yeah,
happens.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, because again we forget, right? That what we are teaching. Okay,
We are
that's fine.
discussing that release on demand.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So basically, the most important aspect, the main intent of Agile is the people should not be sitting idle. The first intent is there. It means that they should always have the work. So the BS responsibility is to get them work in terms of requirements. Work means get the requirements, get it ready, help them so that team will not sit idle.
So
Second scenario is yes, go ahead.
if I initially I joined the company,
Mhm.
and once they want to do some enhancement, that I got to figure it out. Like
Mhm.
initially, how many weeks they may allow, for instance, depends upon the project, I understand, but how many weeks or week they going to give me for analyzing the documentation part, so that
Max 1 week. It depends on your salary, depends on your contract. If your contract is higher, they will expect you to start from the next day itself. If your
okay.
contract or if they have a they will also not have a strengthened timeline, then in that particular aspect, what they will do, they will give you 1 week or 2 weeks of timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
that happens.
basically, as you're saying that no one should sit simply ideally, right?
Yes,
So
ideally no one. As a
mm,
BA, I have never seen a BA sitting ideal.
no,
Because
no,
see,
not
if
ideally. When I get a requirement, only the team will work. That's the understanding, right? So if they give me 1 week of time, right, I have to understand the requirement. Then I have to put my on writing the user stories. That's the main part. Until unless I write the user story, getting acceptance part from their project management, or you have to explain me that also. I have bit confusion over there. Once you get requirement, how you generally from scratch you analyze that, have to also
that
need.
that I'll, okay. So the
Yeah.
thing is that okay, the team should not sit idle. That's the main focus area we need to keep.
Yeah.
So it means that you join an organization, okay? Either some of the requirements should be ready, that is a scenario possible. You go and analyze those requirements. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with your stakeholders, get them answered, do your analysis, or you can also buy in some time saying that, okay, hey, I am new to the organization, I need some time to do the analysis. You can
Mm.
buy in that particular time as well. Second is, if the organization is looking for a domain expert means what? They know that this guy is having the knowledge, he will start working from the next day. That means
Mm.
so if you are joining as a domain expert, then you should be working from the next day onwards. I'll tell you my experience. I am working in healthcare sector from a longer time. Whenever I join an organization, I am starting to be work from the day one onwards
Mm.
because
Mm.
they know that I know each and every system. Day one onwards, once my onboarding has been done, I am joining the project. I am starting working. Every organization, the same thing happened with me. So I can that's the situation over there. So in which position you are joining, okay, which project you are joining, that decides your timeline. Whether you have 1 week, whether you have 2 weeks, sometimes happens as well. They're hiring the BS, they're sending the BS to some other location to get the KTS where the client saves. That also happens. And if that is happening, then that will go for 1 or 2 weeks as well, or 3 weeks as well.
Mm.
So this also happens.
Got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Okay. So based on that, we go and we work for an organization.
Yep. I got
Now, this is what, okay. So when we are going to do an onboarding, we need to make sure that we have a proper KT. So KT can be provided by either any of your team members, any existing QA team, or any fellow BAs. If you have multiple teams over there, so the fellow BAs are going to help you for the KT process. Once you get the KT, get an hands-on experience into the application. If the application is already existing, go and do the analysis by yourself. Try to get a hold of that questions, concerns, ask the person. If you have more questions, get in touch with your stakeholders or the product people. If the product people are there, get in touch with them and get them clarified.
Stakeholder in the
That
sense, meaning that product management, the guy.
product management is part of the stakeholders. Stakeholder means that who wants to be part of the project. It means that who is putting the money into the particular project. So this list of stakeholders are, I think, I thought you have covered everything in the BA. That's why I'm not covering that. Stakeholder means that the people who has a stake in the company and they are putting the money into the particular project. It could be anyone. It could be a sponsor. It could be the business executives. It could be the architects. It could be the process people. It could be the operation people. It could be the project manager. It could be the product manager. It could be the BA itself as well. If the BA comes with a product idea. So whoever comes with a product idea and get the fundings, they are part of the stakeholders group. Their responsibility is to drive the particular project. It means that they are the owners of the requirements. They will be giving you the requirements and they will be expecting from you to complete the things on time. People are called the stakeholders. So you might be hearing the stakeholders each and every time you are going to an organization, or they are called the business folks. They are bringing the business to the company, or they are adding the values to the company.
Gotcha. Yeah. If you have any documents that whatever you explained, that really appreciated. I mean, if you can share me, I think you will.
That documents I don't have it right now. That's part of separate process, but yes, we can go through your details over here.
Yeah, I see. I mean, BA in the sense we might cover. I'm understanding the entire process. That's the only reason.
Yep. I'll be sharing you the documents. Don't worry. But the mappings I don't have it right now, but I'll be sharing. But
Okay.
this is the gist from a stakeholder's perspective.
Okay, stakeholder perspective.
Yep. So let me bring a Excel. Okay, now we have got to this stage there. Okay, what we need to do. So the next thing will be coming to the picture over there. Once you get the idea about the particular project, the first step would be from a BA perspective to do the requirements. Okay. Now the requirements will be coming in two forms. Either we have something in previous defined, some aspect, or we do not have any. These are the two scenarios could be possible. So in both the cases, we need to go to our stakeholders team to gather the requirement. So as a BA, you will be coordinating with the product owner or product manager to keep some of the requirement gathering session with your stakeholders team. Now the stakeholders team would be saying that, okay, your sponsor, your architects, your business, your process associates,
So you're
your
saying,
subject matter experts,
yeah, SMEs.
your product management, your project managers, your agile practice managers. So these are the part of your stakeholders. As a BA, you need to go and gather the requirements from them. And you might be knowing about the requirement gathering techniques that should be getting covered in your BA classes, right? That you will be how you are going to gather the requirements. Because if I'm going through that, then it will be a lot of sessions would be required for that.
Mm-hmm.
So your work is to gather the requirements. Now, once you capture the requirements, you can document those requirements. So how you are going to document those requirements? Let's take an example. You document those requirements into multiple aspects. First one is you can create a BRB, simple business requirement document, and document. Second aspect will be if your organization is not doing the BRD, you can go to Jira or you can go to any other tool, Confluence, and document those aspects. document those details which you have captured as a requirement, because the requirements are at the higher level. Now, let's take an example. You are going to the business requirement document. So, in the business requirement document, how it is getting mentioned. So, this is the business requirement document. You should have a document history, the dates, versions, description, why it is required. You are the author, you are the BA, so you need to keep your author name. Approvals, whom I need to seek the approval. You need to seek the approval from the stakeholders, their positions, and the date of approvals you need to mention. Now, impacted business and the tech users. If your product is already running in the market and you are doing an enhancement to the product, it means that you have some business or tech users. If you are doing it from the scratch, then you do not need any. So in that particular aspect, you are not having any issue. So if you have existing business users, you need to find it out. It is part of your impact analysis to get the list of users for your existing product. Why? If you are making changes, then they should be getting impacted. Think if Amazon or Samsung, they are making any changes to their product, they're sending you a notification saying that, hey, we have a software update available, because they are doing an update. So it's up to the user. The user should be getting notified whether to use that or not to use that. So you need to get the list of business and the tech users if your product is existing. Now, once we have done that, then we write the introduction, why we are doing it, why we are making this particular product, what kind of benefit we will be getting out of. After we have written them down, so whatever our requirements saying that, okay, overall requirements, what are the scope for that? Means why I need to do this particular product, okay? What are my scope? What is the business scope for that? And what is out of scope? What I am not considering right now. So that I should be mentioning over here. Again, BRD is at the high level. We are not writing any designs over there. It's only to keep the business requirements, saying that, okay, these are my business requirements over here. Next thing, I need to write down the technology stack. It means that what kind of technologies are getting used in my particular project or what is required. This should have decided ideally by your architect team. So it's your responsibility is to get those informations from them and write them down over here.
Okay. So in general, so this document BRD will be created if it's in a waterfall, right?
No, it does not mean that it will always be in a waterfall. BRD also will be created in the agile. It will not come to the picture because this is the business requirements. Some companies are keeping it, saying that only the requirements are keeping at the document level. That's what I told. Three aspects are there. Still, companies are using BRDs. Why? They're not using any other documentation because the business is comfortable to see their requirements in one place. They cannot go and log into the Jira and see their requirement. Why they will go to the Jira and they will see their requirement? They want a document. So they generate it as a kind of a document they keep among themselves. I have been to a lot of organizations, ask the same question. But they told that it's nice to have a requirement version with them. Okay. But yes, again, some of the organizations, they go and document the simple thing in the Jira. That's why I have mentioned 3 different approaches. I'm going one by one.
Okay.
Okay. Now, once we have done that, then simple thing, we write our assumptions. What are the assumptions we are taking? Assumption means which holds true from a product perspective. So, I do not need.
I should explain this all the answers if the interview perspective. I'm saying if the interview asks me how you write the BRD documents, I can say this all the things what you.
Yes. If they ask, and make sure whenever you are giving an interview, whatever they ask, you tell that. Don't over exaggerate things. I have seen the situation. Tell me about your project. People started saying that, okay, I wrote the BRD, in the BRD, I wrote this, in the BRD, I wrote that. Hey, bro, I didn't ask you a question about whether you have written a BRD or not. I have asked a question saying that, tell me about your project. What are your roles and responsibilities? Okay? My roles and responsibilities gather the requirements. My roles and responsibility to define those requirements. My roles and responsibility is to make sure that my team should not idle. My roles and responsibility to explain all the scenarios to my team. My roles and responsibility to get the requirement solution. This is an extra step which we are doing it so that my business partners will not feel any issue. That's why I'm just explaining you. Make sense?
Yeah, I got it. So yeah, we haven't go through that project explanation, but I got overall picture, like what we- so so this is as a part of the project explanation, like how we can explain the project tools, and this is just a BRD document, right?
This is a BRD document. If they ask a question such that, have you ever created BRD? Yes, I have created BRD. If they didn't ask you, why you are going to tell that?
Yeah.
Always play with the interviewer. Don't give anything to the interviewer saying that where he is going to play with you. You play with the interviewer. You redirect the interviewer where you know most of the things. Now I am giving you a crash course right now in the BRD. You do not know every aspect from a BRD perspective. Make sense?
Yes. I mean, to be honest, I'm 2 months back. I went this document. I totally forgot. I need to brush my skill. Learned what are the things I learned actually. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I do have some BRD documents myself. I will assumptions, the team member who is working on that particular team member, those things, high level functions, what are the drawbacks, those things also should be covered if I'm not wrong. That I think deadline also should be covered when this, if I'm
It's not necessary to keep the deadlines over. That's why. Not
okay.
necessary. That we do it in the quarter.
Okay.
Now you need to cover the constants and the risks. What does it mean by constants? Constants are basically the technical standards, legal standards, skilled resources, what holds true from a project perspective, what is required from a project perspective. That we need to get the information over here. Risks, which is going to block you from a longer run. Okay. So constants are your boundaries, saying that okay, these are the boundaries I need to deliver my particular project. So technical standard is a boundary for me. I cannot go beyond my technical standard. Legal standard, I need to check my legal aspects as well. I need the skilled resources. If I do not have the skilled resources, then I cannot deliver the particular project. So these are all your boundaries. Risks are which is going to block your particular project in a longer run. It could be timelines, it could be resources, it could be customers, it could be project manager, could be anyone who causes the risk. Anything which is going to block you, that you need to keep it. Once you have done that, then if you have some kind of architecture diagram which is there in previously, you can just simply paste it over here, architecture level diagram over here. If you do not have, then that's fine. You need to create one and you need to paste it. Once you have done that, you need to write your requirements. So the requirements, we are writing it in this particular format. Requirement number, details, gist, priority, functional requirement or non-functional requirement, comments. So we are writing the requirements in this particular format. It's up to you how you are writing it. We write that ability to do this or ability to do the registration when user comes to fast application, or a capability of, or we are writing it capability of the application to provide a registration to the user for the fast payment in the landing, or we can write the same requirement in a different manner. The system should have the ability for the registration for the user. It's up to you how you are writing it. Just it's the explanation of the requirement. Something which we are not understanding, we go and we write that. And the priorities, again, we need to ask our stakeholders or the product people to get the priority, whether it's a high, whether it's a medium, or whether it's a low. It's your responsibility to find out whether it's a functional requirement and the non-functional requirement. Then we put the comment. After writing the requirements in a sequence, we close this, we go for the requirements breaking process. Now, what's the difference between functional requirement and the non-functional? Functional requirements are all your features. It means that what kind of features you are providing to the customer. That is called a functional requirement, which the customer can look and feel and use. That is called a functionality of your application. Login, registrations, anything which the customers are doing or the users are doing. Non-functional requirements always tells about your qualities. It means that how your product is behaving. Nothing that you swipe a credit card. If it takes 20 minutes to get the swipe, are you going to use the credit card again? You will not. So those are all your non-functional requirements like performance, timing, usability, readability, okay, stability, scalability. Those are all your non-functional requirements. As a BA, we always miss the non-functional requirement. We never ask these details to our stakeholders or our product people. What should be my user base? How many users we are expecting per day? Because based on that, my application is going to behave concurrently. My server side should be more. My database size should be more, or something would be more. We never discuss that. But as a BA, you need to make sure that you are covering your functional and the non-functional requirements. Make sense?
Yeah, I got it. Most of the times, yeah, functional, non-functional. I think we specify FRD also when they do
Sorry?
it. Will we? I mean, for instance, if we specify all the things in functional, non, should we create a FRD again? No, right?
No.
Okay. I mean, FRD, as I know, like it's more into functional, non-functional document that we.
No. See, the thing is that you should have a high level of, because see, you will be using your requirements right into the breaking part. How you are going to know that which requirement is a functional or non-functional? FRDs, we are keep defining that as a design. I'm asking about what is the type of a requirement.
Okay. It's high level, basically. That's what.
Yes, if you get a requirement, whether it's a functional or whether it's a non-functional, that you need to find it out in the initial stage itself. If it's a non-functional, then you need to work accordingly. So that's the end of the BRD. Then we go and we close that. If we have any, this is not required. So if we have any kind of documents, we can attach it over here. Any stakeholders information, we can attach it over. That's it. We do not have anything else. And why I taught you this? Still some companies are using the BRDs in the agile methodology. That is there.
Okay.
So we'll be continuing with the Jira from tomorrow and into and how we're going to work.
Can we go, if you don't mind, like I understand the Jira, most of the stuff how it works, but so for instance, you showed me diagram today, right? Which is initially like in the first place you showed me one diagram where how the stakeholders works and how the requirement works. So right now what I need is as we discussed earlier, did you get a chance to look in the resume that I shared?
The resume I didn't receive.
So if you see the resume, you will understand what are the projects I put in there. So I need to understand how to explain project in the, they should believe that, okay, so I worked on this project. Let me go to behavior.
Yeah, but Charan, there is no shortcut. Let me finish my concepts. Then I'll come back to your resume. I know how to teach. Okay? Be patient. This happens most of the time. So be patient. I'll be covering. First, know the concepts basically. You will get it. You will able to tell your project. How I am going in a particular sequence, you can build your story. And you will able to tell those interviews. Don't worry about that.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't receive your resume till now. So once they share,
I shared yesterday to the guy. I don't know. He shared you yesterday. You are in the group actually. In the group.
Yeah, we will check it. Okay, we will forward it.
Okay.
Can you add him in the group? At least we can conversation with through you guys. Actually, Pranit can add in the group, right? Okay, no, you can't, right?
Okay, we can wrap it for today. We'll meet
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Can you send that recordings to me if you don't mind?